Welcome back. I'm Harrison, and today I am going to show you behind the scenes of me making my little personal pages for my little DIY wooden sketchbook that I've shown you in a past show and tell video. Today I'm taking a very large Stonehenge craft 22 by 30 inch sheet of paper that's, I believe it's 90 pounds, and I am incrementally going to cut up this giant sheet into smaller pages that can fit into my little wooden sketchbook. You'll see here, by the way my hands are, that I am a little timid at first. With all things, we start off a little slow, a little cautious, and then once we've done it a couple of times, those brain calories have been spent and we're able to kind of get a lay of the land of the project you're working on. You start to build a little bit more confidence, and you'll see here things start picking up a little bit because mostly I realize it doesn't quite matter if these pages are perfectly the same because they're not being bound together. As long as they all fit roughly in my little wood box sketchbook, then I'm good. So I do a little taping, I do a little measuring with these previous pages as a rough template, but the idea here is to keep it a little bit rough and not be too precious about it. So here I'm using my very large ruler, or yardstick if you prefer, and I'm using it as a little bit of a guide here to make these long strips that are then going to be cut up into the smaller shapes a little bit later on in the video. Also, in case you're wondering, I am going to try to start adding in here and there the tools I use in each video, and that will be at the end of this video in case you want to know what I use. So whether it's the type of paper, the brush, you name it, I will have all that at the very end of the video. Yes, here we go. I am using my little desk broom once again, my infamous desk broom, because there's nothing that makes me want to pretend I'm cleaner than I am by having fancy cleaning tools. As you can see here, it gets a little bit easier once you have strips of paper already cut up to start cutting up the other strips. And don't you know it, I have even tried for your own entertainment and engagement, angling the page a little bit as I'm cutting to give a little bit of variety to the shots. Also, because that camera that is right in front of me at the bottom of the desk is probably what I call the money shot camera, where you're going to get the better looking shots of the whole video, but it's a little sparse. It's not the workhorse I can depend on like the overhead shots. It's much more as needed to break up the overhead and the wide shots. And when it does get broken up, I think it looks kind of nice. You tell me below what you think. Okay, so as you can imagine, I've done some editing to this video. It didn't take 9 minutes to cut up these pieces of paper, but who could blame me if you thought maybe it did? But I'd say this whole process took about an hour, and you gotta let me know below what you prefer, what you like. Would you prefer a video that was the full process, unedited, with the different camera shots? That is roughly a 45-minute to an hour-long video. Do you prefer it as it is, where it's under 10 minutes, or would you prefer even shorter attention spans with, let's say, a 5-minute video? Let me know in the comments below. So at this stage in the process, we have officially ripped our paper. If we're using woodworking terms, the ripping, which is cutting down the length of the page, is what we just finished. We have our strips, and now we are cross-cutting the paper to give that last little bit to make sure it fits. And as you can imagine here, I am mass producing this process. I'm not interested in doing this every time I need a few extra sheets of paper, so I'm making sure I have to do this maybe once every couple of months, and that's it. So I'm trying to make as many pages as possible. You can see here I'm rocking my head a little bit, listening to some hardcore music. There's nothing that pairs better together like hardcore music and paper cutting. A little fun fact for you here. Anytime you want to know the current mental state that I'm in, you can always look at that little desk in the background in my studio. Depending on how clean or messy it is always going to be a great one-for-one comparison with how disshuffled and unorganized my mental state is. So if you ever want to know, like, hey, is Harrison on top of things, or is he, having a bad week? You can always look at that little desk in the background in my studio and tell right off the bat how clean, how messy is it, and that's where my brain is. Also, if you ever want to know what these little writings on my chalkboard and the walls of my studio are, well, they're simply little messages to the spirits that occupy my house. Maybe you think that's a little weird. Yeah, I think it's a little weird, but in the end, it is just a foreboding warning sign to any spirits who want to occupy my little space to kind of like Santa Claus, leave them little verbal cookies so that they can know that we're all friends here under my roof, and that they're welcome anytime they want to come over. Okay, so we have our pages, and thank goodness we have enough, that so much so that it's not going to all fit in my wooden sketchbook. And that's exactly the amount I wanted to make today. And now I get to just reap the fruits of my labor and put them all in and just see how many pages I ended up with at the end of this process. And this is the nice bit, just getting to put a whole batch of fresh pages in my little DIY wooden sketchbook, and now I get to enjoy pretending I'm more organized than I actually am by cleaning up my desk with this little fancy broom. So here are the supplies I used for this video. We got some paper, we got a ruler, we got an X-Acto knife, all the standards, all the basics, pretty much anything you're gonna want for this project. But this is technically what I've used. If you like this, let me know. I might do this in future videos. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.